Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really zeroing in on one specific piece of source material.
That's right. We've got the transcript of Graham's visualizer for his song Out of Focus.
Yeah, and it's more than just lyrics, isn't it? It feels like a blueprint, almost, for this sudden emotional correction. A whole little story about getting a connection wrong.
Exactly. And our mission here really is to kind of unpack the emotional machinery inside this text. We're tracing this very specific arc.
Yeah.
It goes from feeling something really strongly, but maybe, misdirecting it.
That's something he mentions.
Yeah.
Right, that's something. And then it crashes into this stark realization we were out of focus. So this whole deep dive is about figuring out that mistake in emotional tuning, you could say. It kicks off right away, doesn't it? You feel like you're standing in the emotional rubble of whatever happened. Let's talk about those artifacts first. The proof that this connection just didn't land the way you thought.
Yeah, the language hits you immediately with this sense of, limbo. Emotional limbo, maybe rejection. The memories, the little proofs they spent time together, they're not treasured. They're like actively sidelined.
He says, our pictures on your phone don't never see the light.
And that's so specific. They're not gone, just hidden, put away.
In the digital dark, yeah. And then the uncertainty that follows is almost worse.
Yeah.
Maybe she lost all the ones we took that night.
Yeah. Right. That brings in this idea of like active forgetting, or maybe just total indifference about that shared moment. It wasn't important enough to keep safe.
And this really clashes with the hard evidence he admits later, the undeniable part.
Which is?
You didn't ever follow up.
Yes. That's it. The clear signal. Right. No ambiguity there. Just nothing. But what's fascinating, I think, is the mental state before he gets to that clarity. The little bit of self-talk that happens.
You mean the denial, or maybe just hope.
Yeah. Denial, hope, optimism, whatever you want to call it. Despite the evidence, right? The ignored photos, the silence. There's still this little flicker.
He insists, but it's all right, because I know we're going to link another time.
Exactly. It's like this last defense mechanism. Believing in that future meeting keeps the past interactions sort of safe, even though reality is screaming otherwise.
It's like propping up the whole thing with this one shaky belief.
Yeah, precisely. Until that belief just can't hold anymore.
And that leads us to the main event, really.
Yeah.
The pivot point. This, involuntary moment of self-reflection that just bursts the bubble.
And it's interesting where it happens. It's not from someone else telling him. It's internal.
He says, I'm looking in the mirror how I never notice.
The mirror.
The mirror. It's classic, but powerful. It forces him, to stop projecting onto her and look at himself. It becomes about his own perception.
Why do you think the mirror is so key there? Couldn't it just have dawned on him? Well, it could have, maybe. But the mirror makes it confrontational. You can't argue with your own reflection in the same way you might argue with a friend's opinion, right?
True.
It shifts the question from, what did she mean, to, what did I see? Or rather, what didn't I see? The ignorance wasn't like deliberate malice. It was just a blind spot. And that leads straight to the next line. I am seeing clearer. Now my eyes are open. Boom, the fog lifts, like clicking a camera lens into focus, which obviously brings us right to that central idea of the title itself. We were out of focus. And notice the force of that realization. It's not gentle. It's hammered home. Focus, 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 focus.
It's intense, rhythmic.
It suggests it wasn't a slow dawning, but a sudden, maybe even painful snap into clarity. Like, whoa, the image was really blurry before, completely misaligned.
Profoundly miscalibrated, as you said earlier. Okay, so clarity hits. What happens next? The emotional fallout, right? The self-critique.
It's pretty harsh. He immediately starts, picking himself apart intellectually.
The line is, I'm foolish. I'm stupid. I read way too far into this. Brutal honesty.
It is. But is it productive, I wonder? Or is it just a way to, process the shock? Calling yourself stupid can sometimes be a shortcut,
How do you mean? Well, you just think I was stupid. It implies an easy fix. Okay, don't be stupid next time.
Yeah.
It kind of avoids the deeper, maybe more painful truth about emotional wires getting crossed or just basic incompatibility.
Ah, right.
It frames it as an intellectual error. I read too far, instead of maybe a mismatch in what each person was feeling or wanting.
Precisely. And he identifies two specific ways he read too far. First, thinking she wanted something that was intimate.
Which really suggests he was maybe projecting his own desire for intimacy onto her actions.
Very likely. And the second one.
Oof, this one feels very visceral.
I thought I had you right there on my fingertips.
Yeah. That illusion of closeness, of almost having control or certainty, when the reality was she was keeping her distance. It was a fantasy of proximity. So if you look at his whole emotional state described here, It seems like his internal feelings were just so intense they kind of drowned out the external signals. Absolutely. He wasn't unsure. He states it plainly. I was feeling something. He felt it strongly, and he was ready to reciprocate too. I could give you something. And it seems like he really saw her, or thought he did, in love with all your features, your head down to your sneakers. That sounds quite comprehensive. It does. But then comes the crucial part. What he really wanted was something deeper. So that's the source of the blurriness. He was looking for depth, maybe seeing signs of it everywhere because he wanted it so badly.
Exactly. His internal desire essentially acted like the wrong lens setting, making everything look like it matched his need for intimacy. That's why he needed that mirror moment to force a correction.
Okay, so he has this realization, this correction. But the story doesn't just end with him beating himself up. He shifts gears pretty quickly.
Right. He moves towards action, an attempt to maybe fix things or at least clarify them. He says he's down for conversations now.
And I got a lot to say. Which feels quite vulnerable, actually.
It really is, because he's reaching out right after realizing he completely misread the situation.
Yeah.
And he knows it's risky. He admits it. I'm not sure how you're going to take it. He's putting himself out there knowing she wasn't responsive before. So how does he try to handle this potential conversation now that he sees things differently?
Well, first he tries to lower the stakes, maybe. He says, this ain't no special occasion.
That's a really interesting tactic, isn't it? Why say that?
Trying to make it casual, less pressure.
I think so. It's like he's recognizing that his previous intensity, his reading way too far into this, might have been the problem. So now he's deliberately dialing it back.
Trying to cool the temperature he himself raised before.
Yeah. Let's just talk. No big deal. Even though for him it clearly is a big deal. And then comes the final part of that offer.
Where he gives up control.
Exactly. You can have your way, baby. What we're going to make it. That's huge. He's basically saying, okay, I get it now. I messed up by projecting. So you lead. You decide what this is or isn't.
It shows acceptance of the boundaries she implicitly set before.
Right. But even with that breakthrough, that humility, the underlying feeling hasn't actually vanished.
No, the text circles back. I was feeling something and still looking for something deeper.
The clarity didn't kill the desire. It just maybe made him realize he needs a different approach, not projection, but maybe actual conversation, negotiation.
So wrapping this up, it's quite a journey packed into this short visualizer transcript. From those unseen pictures and denial, all the way to that harsh clarity in the mirror.
Yeah, and that out-of-focus metaphor really lands, doesn't it? It feels like such a universal way to describe realizing your perception of someone or a whole relationship was just off, fundamentally misaligned with what was actually happening. It's a compact masterclass in emotional recalibration. But here's something to leave you with, building on that journey.
If seeing clearly means accepting you fundamentally misread the past, how do you make sure that next step, that vulnerable question, what we gonna make it, actually stays focused this time? How do you ensure it's about the shared reality and not just, another echo of that same deep, persistent desire for something more?
Can you really want something deep without blurring the lines all over again?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Until the next deep dive.